very good evening. Thank you very much for taking your time off this Thursday evening to be here and to join us, me and my other panelists, to talk about the digital transformation and how does it going to affect you, what does it mean to you, your future, your career, and for some of you who are running businesses, what does it mean for your organization? Yeah. So I will talk a little bit about the Industrial Revolution 4.0. How many of you heard of the Industrial Revolution 4.0? Put out hand. IR 4.0. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the 13 of you can go back now. You can leave the room. A lot of, I was in Croatia, I just came back from Croatia delivering a keynote last month, and I'm presenting about the future of leadership, exactly the same topic, about what does it take to succeed in the next 20, 30 years. Many people still do not have any idea. And I was in Kuala Lumpur, just close at Kuala Lumpur, about 3 months back, talking about the role of leaders in transforming the organization to get their people ready for the digital revolution, which is already happening. But a lot of leaders still do not understand the difference between the Industrial Revolution 3.0, which I'll talk about a little bit about where we have been over the last 25 years or 30 years, and where we are today, building upon the computing technology, manufacturing, and delivering services, leveraging on what we call World Economic Forum talk about, Klaus Schwab, the founder, talk about the Industrial Revolution 4.0, leveraging on the cyber physical system, IoT, Internet of Things, looking at the robotics, artificial intelligence, and how does it impact our businesses, especially manufacturing. In Singapore especially, we have 1/5, if I'm not mistaken, 1/5 of our GDP is from the manufacturing sector, and the manufacturing sector has about 400,000 workers as of last year. Now, what it means is it's going to be a great impact on jobs in Singapore. Now, I'm not trying to scare you, because whenever I talk about this, people worry about jobs. What's going to happen? And even though our government has not talked about this frequently, the only person I really must congratulate, the only government, I think, there's not a political officer, but Patrick Tay, who is the Assistant Secretary General of the NTUC. Patrick has has my respect, because whenever I attended conferences together with him and he presented, I'm very impressed with his knowledge and his ability to articulate the challenge that we're going to face in the workplace because of the impact of the IR 4.0. And this is the reality. And also, this is not all bad news. There are some good news, and I will talk about how can you leverage, what can you do to prepare yourself and your organization for the future. So the disruption, you all know, is happening here today. There's nothing we can do, because the volatility, the uncertainty, the complexity, the ambiguity that is causing businesses to transform, reinvent themselves is going to continue. What we call the VUCA World. The VUCA World, which is the term developed by the US Army Command back in 1980s. It's a result of the demise of the Cold War with Soviet Union at that time. And it's a long story. I'm going to talk to you, which is a 3-day workshop into 15 minutes, so it's very, very challenging. So I hope during the Q&A you ask me more questions about VUCA and I can elaborate. But the reality is this: whether you like it or not, the VUCA is here to stay. Bob Johansen, which is the, you see the answer first one. Bob Johansen, who is the Institute of Future, talk about the next 30 to 40 years, this phenomenon of VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, ambiguity and complexity of the industry, the blurring of industry, the confluence of industry is going to happen much more intense. So you better be prepared. And the reality is this, as you see from the slide here, the largest taxi company in the world owns no vehicle, which is Uber. Do you know which most popular media owner creates no content? Go on. Anyone? Sorry? Washington Post. No, come on. Sorry? Facebook. Very good. Facebook. Yeah. And the biggest retailer. It's not working. The biggest retailer owns no inventory. Which company is that? Alibaba. Yeah? And of course, the next one is very easy. The largest accommodation, they provide no real rooms. As well as Airbnb. Now, these are just common examples that you probably have heard before. And there are many more other companies. These are the most famous company. But the reality, there are much more smaller companies that are leveraging on technology. And recently, very proud, a Singapore-owned company called Razer that's been listed in Hong Kong. And I think you're going to hear more about Razer in the near future. And I think there are, and I believe there are more opportunities. Despite the disruption, we have to be able to have a sense of optimism. This is what leadership is all about. Unfortunately, the news that you read every day, and I'm going to show you some of the news, is all about the gloom, the pessimistic outlook about jobs being lost, okay, because of this industrial revolution, IR 4.0. And the WEF, World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, in January 2016 in Davos, he talked about this and he launched a book and he published a book to talk about the transformation of the industry across all industry, across all countries in the world. No country in the world is going to be it's not going to be impacted. Everyone is going to be impacted, so be prepared for this. So what is IR 4.0? As I said, is about confluence or leveraging on artificial intelligence, robotic automation, and so forth. I want to focus on leadership. So all these things, you can get it from the WEF website. And we are talking about this, for example, in Taiwan and in China, Foxconn, which manufacture the iPhone or Samsung and many of the other electronics products, are looking at loss of thousands of jobs. And interesting thing, there are some bright spots, because we're talking about computing, how IBM has used the supercomputing to be able to, with artificial intelligence, of course, with nanotechnology, to find cure for cancer, for new treatment. So there are opportunities, there are some good news, and also from a job perspective, I will talk about some of the bright spots where you can focus your career and where you can leverage on this opportunity. These are some of the new industries, smart retail being one. Some of you probably have, in Singapore, unfortunately, there was a survey done by, was it Amazon, trying to launch some new, I can't remember the name of the program, but they did a survey and they found that Singaporeans still love to shop, physically go to shopping centers. The take-up rate in terms of online shopping is not as great as compared to other countries. So you have, of course, connected mobility, which is interesting. This is an industry that's gaining tremendous inroad into leveraging IR 4.0 in, for example, Tesla. Also in Toyota, I was reading an article last month in Japan that Toyota is using this, how to leverage on this confluence of robotics, cybernetics, and how to be able to, with human, people like us. So it's not all about pure robotics, there's no human being involved. So they are working side by side, human working with robots to be able to deliver some of the products being manufactured. And of course, smart logistics, medtech, edutech, home automation, and so forth. There are many industries. There are a lot of industries. So these are the industries you should focus on in the near future. Talk to your children and your grandchildren, and this is the thing that you need to think about. And I'll talk about the skills that's required. It's very important. This is by the WEF. So the skills now, this is very important. Of all the slides I'm going to show you, these are the 2 slides you need to remember. For your sake and your children, your grandchildren. Number 1, remember this word. Creativity, or to more specific, creative thinking. Creative thinking, critical thinking. Now, critical thinking is different from creative thinking. In the innovation, you talk about disruptive economy. Yes, creative thinking is important, but today, in future, in the digital, and talking about the IR 4.0, critical thinking is different from creative thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to look at facts over fiction about making, how people making assumptions in the statement. How do you evaluate different information to make business decisions? So it's a bit different from creative thinking. So critical thinking, number one. Number two is social and emotional intelligence, and very important, having done research for the last 25 years, I found that one element is very important is the ability to have strong empathy and emotional connection. And I will show you at the end a video by Jack Ma, which confirmed my research, or CE research in that area. And this is the latest global research we did in the US, and of course other parts of the world, but primarily in the US. We look at what does it take to succeed in the digital, in the VUCA driven, is what we call cognitive readiness. Cognitive readiness is the ability to use your critical thinking, not just your creative thinking. Critical thinking, intuition, your emotional, social intelligence, your ability of sense making, connecting the dots, and so forth. Again, you want to know more, you can go into my website, 𝐶E-global.com, to get more information. And this is a survey. I think PA said most of you registered before last Thursday, 1 week ago. They've been invited to participate in the survey. Only 5 people participated, very sadly. So just 5 people, thank you for your participation. You received a book, a free ebook on leading in the VUCA world. But this is the latest as of yesterday, for yesterday midnight. The results global, that we have found that what it takes to succeed to lead in the VUCA world in the digital, the number one competency is critical thinking. Worldwide, 75% of respondents say this is the most important in the organization, followed by, interestingly, learning agility. It's different from the WEF. Learning agility is the ability to learn, unlearn, relearn. So a lot of you here, those of you I see 20 years in the workforce, 15, 20 years, 30 years, forget about whatever you learn in school. Throw it out. You need to ask yourself, whatever you have learned, is it relevant today? So unlearn, relearn. It's very important. Learning agility. And of course, the others, emotional, social intelligence, all of you know about, and cognitive readiness is the ability to combine all this. Yeah. And interestingly, only less than half of the respondents worldwide says digital proficiency is not as important as the other 4. And that doesn't mean you can be a super. I've got a good friend here, Philip Teo, who's a legend from the Silicon Valley. We know him for 30 years, for many years in the 80s. Philip, who's from the Silicon Valley. And a lot of things, he's one of the pioneer in this area in the Infocom. And let me tell you, whatever people think about technology, it's not as important. Remember, technology is an enabler. It's the people is important. People come before process and technology. You as a leader need to take responsibility and play a part in transforming your organization. So leadership is very important. Not technology, not system, not processes, not software. If you don't get the people issue right, you'll never solve all the problems that we are facing today. In 2013, I was interviewed by NUS to ask me, what do you think? That was 4 years ago, to prepare for the digital world. And the question I was asked is, what does it take to succeed? At that time, and I make it very clear, you need to lead with love. When I say this, lead with love, or when I deliver this at the undergrad, both NUS, NTU, and SMU, all the girls was laughing, giggling. No, love. What do you mean by love? Prof, what do you mean by love? You mean we as lead with the love? Yes, of course you have to love. You must demonstrate empathy. That is sorely lacking at the workplace today. We need to show genuine concern, care for your employee. Because you must admit you don't have all the answers. In the digital economy, you can have the Gen Y, Gen Z. Gen Z are those born between 1995 to 2010. They are the people who are right now. They are called the linkster because they are linked to the technology. When they wake up, when they sleep, they wake up first thing is with their smartphone, their interlink. So the reality is this. know how to interact with your younger workforce. Learn how to engage them. If you want to lead in the digital economy, the reality is this. Forget about what you have learned. Forget about what you have done, the style of your mentor, whatever you learned from the old style, it may not work. The Gen Y, the millennial, those are born in 1980 to 94, and the Gen Z or Linkster, who are born between 95 to 2010, is going to be different. The expectations, the way you need to be able to engage and listen. And sometimes you need to be humble that they have all the answers. You don't have the answer. I don't have the answer. I have two mentors. One is age of 18, 78, about 18, and the other one is 23. Both are my mentor. People ask, how could your mentor be 23 years old? Because this guy is good about design thinking. In the digital economy, you need to learn an approach called design thinking. And that's going to revolutionize your organization. My point is this, you need to be able to get all the help you can in the digital technology, digital world. Because the reality is this, we don't have all the answers. You cannot work alone. You do not have all the solutions. To conclude, I will show you a short video by Jack Ma in February this year. Was invited by Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, to deliver, at the Gateway 2017. And listen very carefully. He talked about what we need to be successful in the digital industrial revolution.
We should teach our kids the EQ, IQ, and LQ. The LQ is the Q of love, which I strongly believe that if you want to be successful, you should have an EQ and the IQ. But if you want to be respected, if you want to survive next 30 years, you should have teach our kids the Q of love, the Q of care the others. In this way, you can survive. The first technology revolution released the the body, right? So we know the machine is more powerful than human beings. And the second technology revolution released the human distance. So the plane, the airplanes, and the train all go. But this technology revolution released the human brains. People start compete by wisdom, by knowledge, not by muscles. People say, what's the secret of China grow so fast? One of the things that we Chinese learn very much in the past 30. We learn a lot about America. If you today go to New York, pick up 100 Americans on the street, how many of them can speak more than 10 Chinese words? Very few. If you're in Beijing, Shanghai, you grasp 100 young people and ask them how many of them can speak more than 20 English words, 80 of them. That is, you learn. When you appreciate, when you're open-minded, when you learn from others, you make progress. What I worry a lot is that today, a lot of knowledge-based things, computer in the future can do better than men. We should not teach the kids do the things that computer can do better, right? So the thing worried me is not about the technology. The thing worried about is how can we train and educate our kids in a way that 20, 30 years later, they can do things that computer cannot do. Yeah. So you should teach computers, you should teach our kids creative, innovative, team sport, team sportsmanship, culture. These are things, creativities that the machines cannot do better. And I don't think the machine, the technology is going to conquer people, because people have souls. We have value. We have a belief, which machine does not have.
Okay, so again, there's a lot to learn from him. In the reality is this. Creativity, social and emotional intelligence is important for the future. So get your kids, get them ready. PA has this series of program, the Skills Future program, which caters to all these new skills. So please go and get yourself registered. So let me just conclude. The reality is this: to succeed in the future, you need to reinvent your leadership practices, your competency. A lot of organizations still talking about the same leadership competency 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They are not prepared to change. But the reality is these are the companies who are going to be disappeared very soon. So you need to ask yourself, as a leader, what do I need to do differently? What do I need to do myself? Learn, as Jack Ma talked about, learning agility. Yeah. And lastly, these are the skills that I mentioned: critical thinking, adaptability, agility, creativity, problem solving, and to be able to prepare for the future. Now, for those of you, all of you here in this room, we will be able to give you free trials for all the programs we have on our portal for the next 30 days. So you have free access to all the modules to prepare yourself, only 30 days. So you can go to VUCAmasterclass.com, you can register. And lastly, for those of you who are interested to have the ebook on how to lead in the digital world, in the disruption economy. So go and complete, except the 5 of you who have completed last Friday, the rest of you have not. So you can go in later. It's a 5-minute online survey, VUCA-survey.com. Go in, answer those 6 questions, and you'll be able to get a copy of the ebook at the end, and also the report when it's published in January next year. Okay, with that note, I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. Thanks to PA, Wendy and the team for the opportunity to be here and share with you. This is just the beginning. You can communicate, continue to dialogue with me on the various social media platform, and I look forward to your questions. Start thinking about those issues that I discussed during the panel discussion. I'd like to engage you more about what it takes to succeed as a leader in the digital world. Thank you very much. Thank you, welcome back. So let me tell you a little bit about the Leadership Masterclass. We at CE, together with our partners at EDA and other global partners, we have learned about what it takes, what are some of the best in-class thought leadership practices, concepts, tools and techniques to drive organizational and leadership excellence. What it takes to be from good to a great manager, a leader. How do you transform your organization to a high-performance organization? And this Leadership Masterclass series is designed to achieve that exactly. This program is designed to help you, the business leader, the human resource practitioner, to give you the right platform, skills to transform being good to great. How does it come about? We have spoken to many of our clients over the years, and many of them say that, look, what is missing? Well, especially over the last 5 years, we have intensively going to market across Asia Pacific, and we ask one question: what does it take for your leaders, or what do you think it would take for leaders to be successful in the VUCA world, or leading the VUCA world? Many of the organizations says they need leaders to be ready, to have the right set of skills, whatever it may be, whatever the competency may be, to meet the challenges in the VUCA world. Equip them with the skills through a program that is contemporary, that is practical and relevant. So that is the feedback that we get, and that's the basis upon which we design the program. So all our Leadership Masterclass program in this series that you're going to participate, you will see that it covers these 3 areas. It is contemporary because it leverages on latest concept, best practices, framework and tools on leadership development. P is practical. We explore examples, case study, using tools, expert guidance with me as a facilitator, learning those concepts and tools. How can you immediately apply and transfer to your workplace? It's action-based learning approach.
And lastly, R, CPR, contemporary, practical and relevant. And every single module in this leadership masterclass is relevant to you as a participant, as a manager, leader, HR practitioner, and you're able to connect with the various topic, modules, themes in this workshop or this series of leadership masterclass that you can apply to your own work, your own project, in your own organization. And every single module comes with an action plan. As part of the action-based learning, you need to apply to your organization and review it with the facilitator. So with that note, this leadership masterclass is designed for you, business leader and HR leader, based on the CPR, contemporary, practical and relevant. And we encourage you to explore and leverage on all the various resources and tools that we put in place in every single module that accompany this program. Maximize, use them to your advantage and help yourself to transform from being good to great. And with that note, I look forward to engaging you in the series of modules that you're going to take part, and look forward to communicate with you and engaging you in the social media and getting your feedback as we go along. Thank you, and have a great learning journey.